Good evening, folks, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on the Liberty Battles radio show. I'm your host, Alex Allen. Come at you live for the Liberty Battles radio show every Monday and Friday right here on UCY.TV and only here on UCY.TV at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time, where on the show we talk about all kinds of different stuff. The Monday show is, for those of you who do not know, for those of you who have not listened to the show before or followed any of my work, the Monday show here is a gun talk show where I go over gun news, gun politics, gun controversies, gun-related stories that are happening across the world. And then the Friday show is more of a full-scale news, politics, government, all that kind of stuff. I pretty much go over a lot of different things on the Friday show. And again, the Monday show is just guns. So I want to thank you for joining us this Monday evening. This is Monday, the 20th day of January 2014, and since it is a Monday, that does mean it is a gun show this evening. I want to get through a few quick promotionals here and talk a little bit about a couple of things that I'm doing in independent media that I'm going to be doing, that I need your help with, that I need support on, and then I will get into the bulk of the show, here in just a moment, with the gun talk and all sorts of, different topics that I want to discuss this evening with regards to guns. First of all, I'll just go ahead and plug all of my social media stuff, get that out of the way. If you don't already, I'd really appreciate it if you go give me a like over on Facebook at facebook.com/LibertyBattles. You can also give the Alternative Journalism Facebook page a like over at facebook.com/alternative journalism. I post most of the articles and content that I do over there as well. Of course, you can also like the UCY.TV Facebook page. Really appreciate that. And also, I'd encourage you to go check out the Anti-Media on Facebook, because I am a writer for the Anti-Media now, in addition to still doing my own blogs and, of course, writing for digitaljournal.com, which is something I've been doing for quite some time. I now write for the Anti-Media as well. And of course, all of my articles that I do for the Anti-Media will be posted on the Anti-Media Facebook page. So I'd encourage you to go give them a like as well. Plus, they put out, there's all kinds of other great writers over there that put out great content on that website as well. It's the antimedia.org. And of course, I'd encourage you to go check out all of the other cool shows here on UCY.TV, because that's another place where there are all kinds of cool, interesting shows. Everyone has a little bit of a different perspective on things, and it brings for a unique network here. We have all sorts of different shows from different perspectives. I'm more of a libertarian anarcho-capitalist guy, whereas some other people are different. And that is perfectly great, perfectly fine. I promote the idea of working together where we can find the common ground and, getting past our differences, working towards the really serious issues. And then later, figuring out the little differences with our, once we can eliminate the total problems, the major problems that we have in society, and we can work together and find the common ground, then we can hammer out the details of what we disagree on at a later date. But that's just what I promote, and I'll actually be talking. It's a little bit of what I'm going to get into this evening with regards to some gun stuff that I'm going to be talking about, with some gun activism and stuff that we can be doing. All right, now the thing I need help with. I would really appreciate it if you would all go check out the hashtag Justice for Kelly Thomas Twitter Storm Facebook event. And all you got to do is head over to facebook.com/LibertyBattles, which is my Facebook page, and the event I created on there just a few days ago should be towards the top or somewhere in the news feed over there. And you scroll down, you click on that event, and click on Join It. I would really appreciate the support there. For the last several days, I've been trying to organize a hashtag Justice for Kelly Thomas Twitter storms. We've had a lot of these Twitter storms going around in the alternative media recently, and they've been making some big strides. We've been getting a lot of stuff trending on Twitter, getting a lot of people talking about it. I've seen the dialogues, I've seen the conversations that arise from this. A lot of people might be critical of it and say, "Oh, well, it's just social media, it's just Twitter. What's the big deal? It's not going to really make that big of a difference." And you could argue that, but again, I've seen some of the discussions it has started, and some people don't even know who Kelly Thomas is, or what the deal with that, with his whole case was. And of course, usually on Twitter we see a lot of sports and pop culture crap trending over there in the top trends, and if people who are just completely oblivious to who Kelly Thomas is, if they see Justice for Kelly Thomas over there as a hashtag trending on Twitter, they're like, "Ooh, I wonder what that is. What does that mean?" They click on it, and then they find all these links, all of these articles, all this information, and then they get angry about it, and then they want to get involved and get active with it and be against police brutality and the whole nine yards. So again, I'd encourage you to go check that out. What we're doing is, it was kind of a spur of the moment organization the other day, and there wasn't a whole lot of organization to it, and it was kind of, I really just did a horrible job, of organizing it. But now I've gotten some help, promoted from some people, and, what I'm doing is, I'm just gathering as many people as I possibly can over the next few days. And then here in a couple days, when I think we have enough people, I'm going to set a new official time and date, and we're going to launch this thing, and we're going to have a big Twitter storm, hashtag Justice for Kelly Thomas. So again, go check that on Facebook, hashtag Justice for Kelly Thomas Twitter storm. You can find it over on the actual Liberty Battles Facebook page. So that's that. Another thing I would like you to all check out is my blog over at newculturalnarrative.blogspot.com. Now, this is something that I am trying to improve, that I'm trying to do different, and something that I'm trying to I'm going to be doing some different things with it, stuff that I don't know, maybe is unprecedented in the blog world. But what I'm going to do with this is, first of all, I'm going to try to here in the next few days get my hands on I've already checked and verified it is available and everything. I'm going to register the actual domain for newculturalnarrative.com, which is currently, again, available. I'm going to register that and buy that out, and I'm going to transfer the whole New Cultural Narrative blog over to that domain. And then I'm going to start adding a lot more content. In addition to putting my own articles and my own blog posts and interesting things that I write over there, I'm also going to try to get a bunch of different writers and different contributors from different can't even think of the word I'm trying to say, from different places, I guess, across the internet. I want to get some different writers to contribute articles over here, and I really want to just compile a huge, big, massive website of interesting and informative articles and written content and blogs. And what I'm going to do is, I don't have the funds, I don't have the means to actually pay people to write for New Cultural Narrative. But what I'm going to do is, if you have your own blog or your own website or your own, anything like that you would like to promote, I'll give you a byline in the articles that you write, and with your name, and then a link to your blog or your website, or again, Facebook page, whatever you're doing. So I'll help you promote that, and then I'll let you, if you have one or two affiliate links or something, if you're an affiliate for anything. For example, I'm an affiliate through, you can get on these affiliate programs, and it's really simple. You just got to fill out some information and stuff and give people some information. And a lot of these companies have these affiliate programs. For example, I'm an affiliate through Big Berkey Water Filters, so I can put up an affiliate link in some of my content, and if people click that and then go to the website through the link on my content, they will, I get a commission. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 30%, sometimes it's, a certain dollar amount, sometimes usually it's a pretty good percentage. And, so if you have an affiliate link or any sort of affiliate that you can promote, I would have no problem putting your affiliate links in your articles. And, that's, I guess, the way that I'm going to pay people without actually having to pay people, since I don't have the funds, to do that at this point. But I do say at this point because I am, I'm trying to constantly expand and improve everything that I'm doing in the alternative media. And, I've got some really big ideas, and I really want to start doing this stuff, full force. But again, that's something new. So if you are interested, if anyone right now is interested, if you're a writer or you're interested in writing articles or blog posts or something, contact me at libertybattles@gmail.com. Again, that's libertybattles@gmail.com. And, we'll have a little chat and, get to talking. And once I get this going full force with the New Cultural Narrative blog, and the website and everything, you can start writing articles and contributing and, the whole 9 yards, and we can get your affiliate links up there and promote your stuff and all kinds of stuff. So, it's gonna be cool, gonna be fun, gonna get a lot of interesting people together, and I hope to really, really get this going, soon. And, I do have some other ideas as well, but I'm not going to vocalize any of those just yet until I can get things going. All right. Well, I've been blabbering on for a little bit about my independent media work. I want to get into the actual show now. Now that we're 15 minutes into the show, I want to actually get into the show itself. First article here I want to talk about is one from guns.com. It's titled, "No Guns Allowed, Customer Fatally Shoots Gunman in Dollar General Store, which Prohibits Open Carry." And again, this article from guns.com. Dallas County authorities are investigating a fatal shooting of a gunman by an armed citizen in an Orrville, Alabama Dollar General store Thursday afternoon. DeForest James, who was in the store just moments before the shooting occurred, told reporters that Kevin McLaughlin walked into the store waving a gun and said he was looking for 3 bad mother effers. McLaughlin then ordered the cashier and a customer, Marlo Ellis, into a break room in the back of the store. However, McLaughlin was unaware that Ellis was carrying a concealed handgun, and Ellis walked through the doorway of the break room. He pulled the gun, turned around, and shot McLaughlin once in the chest. McLaughlin was pronounced dead when officers arrived. The entire incident lasted less than 5 minutes and was caught on surveillance video, which has not been released to the media. Dallas County Sheriff Harris Huffman said that at this point in the investigation, McLaughlin's motives are still unclear, but they do not believe that he intended to commit a robbery. Customers who were in the store at the time told authorities that there was never any mention of money or anything of that sort. I don't know why he went in there waving a gun at the people. Whatever reason he went in there for, it was serious. Anytime someone goes into store and points guns at people, then anybody in the store has the right to use deadly force against that person, District Attorney Michael Jackson stated. Ironically, the store had a sign posted on the door which prohibits open carrying of firearms into the store. To have a gun concealed, you need a permit to carry it open carry. You don't. But you have a sign in a place of business that's letting you know that the people inside that place of business do not want guns in there, Huffman explained. Authorities were checking into whether or not Ellis had a valid permit to carry concealed. Huffman said the case would be turned over to a grand jury for review once the investigation was completed. You have one individual waving a gun, and then you have another one who shoots the one waving the gun. Some people say that's justifiable. Then you're going to have some who say it's not. I think we need to get all of the information we can get from everybody and then go forward from there, Huffman said. But Jackson said that he did not expect Ellis would face any charges. In Alabama, you have the right to defend yourself or a third party. So when the perpetrator went in there with a gun, anybody in the store had the right to deadly force. I believe a word was left out there. It should be to use deadly force. And that's what happened. So he actually was a good Samaritan in this situation because other people could have been injured if he hadn't taken action, Jackson said. Although Ellis is being called a good Samaritan in this situation, he's had prior run-ins with the law. According to Jackson, Ellis is currently facing charges for second-degree rape and enticing a child for immoral purposes. He is accused of picking up a girl under the age of 16 from a school basketball game and taking her to his house before the two had sex. Ellis has been out of jail on bond, but Jackson confirmed that regardless of the pending charges, Ellis was still within his rights to possess a concealed carry permit because he has not been convicted of a crime. Now, this goes into a whole slew of things, and I like to promote a lot of good stories where we have, wins for the gun community, where we show, guns being used for good instead of evil, and where there's no where there's no bad things, and we have actual heroes that we can promote in the gun community, and we can, promote those stories and get them out there and show people that guns are used for good, because the statistics are clear. I'm not a statistic person. I hate statistics. I hate using statistics, but they are clear. This one's clear. Guns are used more often to deter crime than they are used to commit crime. It's just a fact. It is a stated, documented fact. It's a fact. You cannot deny it. Guns are more often used to deter crime than they are to commit crimes. It's just a fact, and I can't help that. If someone disagrees with that, it's a fact. And so again, I like to promote good stories in the gun community that we can promote up and say, oh, these people are heroes and everything's great and everything. But this is not exactly one of those foolproof stories for many reasons, because for one, it's bad that the store does not promote gun ownership, carrying a gun into the store, which goes into a whole slew of things I'll get into in just a moment. And then of course we have the issue where the guy has a whole bunch of different charges that he's faced, and he doesn't seem like a stand-up guy. He really just doesn't seem like a model citizen at all, based on some of the charges that he has faced. Now, obviously, I don't know the guy, and maybe he's just run into some bad luck. Maybe he's actually a good guy. Maybe these are not. Maybe everything's been taken out of context, and he doesn't deserve to be charged with any of this stuff. I don't know, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, people who have all of these different charges, second-degree rape, stuff involving, immoral stuff with children, picking up a girl under the age of 16 from a school basketball game and having sex with her. This is not the kind of stand-up guy that we want to really promote, or that I want to really promote, as a hero for the gun community. We don't really need to be promoting this. But on the same note, I also see what he did there, regardless of what he's done in the past, regardless of other things that he does, what he did there was justified. If the story holds up, if the story is 100% true, if that's exactly what went down, if he shot the guy when he was waving the gun around at everyone, then he was completely justified. And it was a good story. But that whole thing of bringing up all these other charges, there you go. You could blame that on the media, the people reporting on it. You could blame that on, you could say that it's just bad. We don't need to be promoting these people if we know that they're actual, bad people. We don't need to be promoting them as the good guys in the gun community. I don't know. I really don't know what I think about that. But I do know the major issue here is the store, and not allowing the people to, or saying that the people are not allowed to carry firearms into the store. Now, I am a full-scale anarcho-capitalist, libertarian-minded individual. So I believe in personal responsibility, individual liberty, property rights, free markets, the whole 9 yards. And this goes into an issue where I was talking with someone the other day, or just a couple of weeks ago actually, about this exact issue of carrying guns into places of business. And I've touched on this on the show before as well, but I'm going to get into it since it applies to this story. The fact of the matter is, naturally, going past what the law says, going past all the bureaucracy and all that crap, basic human rights say that you own your property, and another person doesn't even have the right to be there. A right, people have to understand the difference here between a right and a privilege or an opportunity. The business owners, in this case Dollar General, or it could be in the case of a locally owned restaurant or a diner or a hotel or a mom and pop shop or a gas station or a gun store or whatever it is, whatever kind of business it is, you don't actually have the right to be there. A lot of people think that they have the right to be, in places. They think of businesses as public places, and they're not. Businesses aren't public places. Businesses are privately owned, and you do not have the right to be on that property. People are allowing you to come on to their property, onto their business, so that you can exchange money with them, in exchange for goods or services. They're letting you come onto your property, or come onto their property, because they believe that you're a paying customer. Now, in an ideal free market situation here, speaking hypothetically, if we had a full-scale free market scenario here, no government force or coercion involved. Again, if I wanted to carry my firearm onto someone's property, into a business or whatever, and the business owner said that the business or property owner says that they do not want firearms on their property, I don't have the right to do that just because I naturally have some sort of right to own a gun. Yes, I have the right to own a gun and have a gun and carry it on my person, but I don't have the right to carry it onto someone else's property if they don't want it there. Just like I don't have the right to come in there and say something that they don't want. If I come into someone's business and I say something that angers the business owner, that angers the property owner has the right to kick me out. The property owner, ideally, of course, this is speaking ideally with a free society. This gets into the whole civil rights issues that we, the Civil Rights Act and the last two, namely of the Civil Rights Act, ideally, a business owner, and I know this isn't a popular belief, and it isn't something that's popular to hear, but the fact of the matter is, in a truly free market society, the business owner has the right to kick you out if he doesn't like the color of your skin. If he doesn't like the color of your skin, if he doesn't like your sexual orientation, if he doesn't like the way you speak, if he doesn't like the freckles on your face, if he doesn't like the color of the shirt you're wearing. Whatever. They're the property owner, they're the business owner, they have the right to kick you out for whatever. So this definitely 100% applies to the gun community, and I think this is a huge issue in the gun community because nobody can get together on this, and I think a huge chunk of gun owners feel like they have the right to carry their gun just because of the Second Amendment or just because of, personal, individual gun ownership rights. They feel like they have the right to carry their gun whenever and wherever. And it's simply not the case, simply because not so much a gun issue itself, but an overall property rights issue, considering the fact that you do not have to have the right per se to be on someone else's property in the first place. It's not a right. It's a privilege. It's an opportunity to be on someone's property so that you can get your goods or services or whatever they're offering in exchange for your currency or whatever the deal is there. So again, that goes into the whole Starbucks thing, where a lot of gun owners were protesting and getting angry at Starbucks for all the things that they were doing with not allowing open carry, not allowing guns, and going all full scale anti-gun. People were angry and saying that Starbucks was infringing on their Second Amendment rights. No, they're not infringing on your Second Amendment rights. They may be doing something that you disagree with. And that's a whole nother issue there. If a business is doing something you disagree with, well, hey, don't support the business. And if enough people have your mindset, if enough people can collectively come together and have your mindset, then, they will all not support this business. And again, if enough people come together and are not supporting this business, the business is going to go under, the business is going to fail, and then the business owner learns something. He or she thinks, oh my gosh, wow, I should have allowed people to carry guns on my property because people obviously, as a general rule of thumb, as a collective, people tend to support that, and my business has failed as a result of not allowing that. So that is what, just like with the whole civil rights issue, and I don't think we need to be, a lot of people argue that, getting rid of some of these ridiculous civil rights here with regards to businesses not being able to discriminate, they say it'll lead back into, whole segregation and discrimination. Well, no, because the people still have the power. The fact of the matter is, I would not support a business if I knew that they were openly, kicking people out of their business just because they were black or just because they were Hispanic or just because they were whatever. I wouldn't personally support them. I wouldn't go in there because I think, screw that. That's a bigot. That's there's no need for bigotry. There's no need for any of that crap. So I wouldn't support it. And, again, goes back to the whole thing of the free market, people coming together and collectively supporting it and, or collectively not supporting it and saying, no, we're not going to shop there because you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a, whatever. And then the business fails. And that's better. That's actually better than, propping up a system that says that you have to serve, people, regardless of their, color or ethnicity or whatever it happens to be. That's actually better than a system because you see who the true people are. If they have the right and they use the right to kick you out of their business because you're, because of your color or whatever, then you actually see who the true racists are. Then you actually see who the true bigots are. You see who the true bad guys are. Whereas you can't really see that in a system that's so messed up with laws and the whole nine yards, where we can't really see who the bad guys are because they can't truly express their full true authentic identity. And so that is that. Again, I'm not saying I condone any of this. I'm saying having laws that restrict this are bad. And now I'm getting off into a whole slew of things. I know I'm getting sort of off of guns, but it all ties back in there because the guns is the big thing. I know with the whole, Kenny Rogers, no, it wasn't Kenny Rogers. It was one of those other big, country music stars. I'm drawing a blank. I don't listen to Toby Keith, that guy. He had it's a big restaurant chain, and a lot of his fans and supporters were getting angry because his restaurant chain didn't allow firearms on the premises, and again, he was getting all of his fans were getting all pissed off because let's face it, a lot of his fans are supporters of the Second Amendment because he's a huge country, Southern Republican, red-blooded sort of fan base. He's a country music star. And, he was all pro-Bush and pro this and that and neocon and that whole crap. But the deal is, all of his fans were saying, "Oh, Toby Keith, how dare you infringe on our Second Amendment rights," when they don't realize that's not infringing on your Second Amendment rights. He could still completely support the Second Amendment, but be against guns himself. That's the beauty of course he's not. The whole issue is, it goes into an issue, with that. It's an issue of, corporate control, and, he doesn't actually have control over that restaurant himself, over that restaurant chain. It's a corporate controlled thing. They just pay him to use his name, basically. He rakes in the money, so they can use his name so that people will go to it because they see a sign that says, "Oh, that's a Toby Keith restaurant. Well, hey, I'm gonna go there because I like Toby Keith and his music." So that's the real issue there. But again, the people who are saying that that's somehow infringing on their Second Amendment rights, it's not true. It's not infringing on your Second Amendment rights at all. And that goes back to the whole thing of, that's the beauty of what I promote, which is anarcho-capitalism and libertarianism. That's why I promote it, is because you can agree, you can be okay with, the Second Amendment. You can be okay with personal gun ownership or, anything of that nature, but on the same note, you disagree with it on a personal level, and you don't do it yourself, and you don't promote it on your own property. That's the difference there, and that's the beauty of a truly free market society. You can have your own views, but let other people practice what they do as well. But I won't get too much deeper into that. That settles that. Again, the article I was talking about a little while ago that got me into all of this was "No Guns Allowed. Customer Fatally Shoots Gunman in Dollar General Store, Which Prohibits Open Carry." And that's an article from guns.com. And so you can go look that up. Interesting read, interesting story. You can formulate your own opinions on that matter. Oh, and speaking of forming your own opinions here, that reminds me, for those of you who haven't listened to the show before, for those of you who are regular listeners to this show, you probably already know this, but for those who haven't listened before or who haven't listened much, you might wonder why I don't take calls, and that is an issue right now. I can't. My Skype doesn't allow it for some reason. I'm not able to take calls on Skype unless someone else is hosting the call, is hosting the show, and it just runs into a whole bunch of different issues. I have been able to take calls previously, but again, it was when someone else was hosting the actual Skype call, and it's just a whole big bunch of issues, and it's a whole big bunch of mess on a lot of people for me to be able to take calls on the show. So I keep saying I'm going to try to sit down and figure out what the issue could be on this, because I have no clue. It's an issue with my Skype and showing up that I'm not online when I am online, and I don't know. I really don't know anything about it. I never used Skype before I started this show. Obviously I have to do the show through Skype. It's a program I use, and it's a program all the hosts use here on UCY. And I had never used it. Of course I'd heard of it, but I'd never really used it or messed around with it at all. The first time I actually created an account was when I was getting ready to do this show. And so I don't know what the issue is there. I would like to take calls because I enjoy taking calls, and especially on this gun talk show where I read off a lot of gun articles and where a lot of them are sort of, I'm indifferent on them. It would be really fun and really interesting to get a lot of you to call in and give your own little take on whatever, and get a whole debate started, or just get a whole conversation going, or whatever, because I do like taking calls. I do like hearing from other people and talking to other people and engaging with other people who may or may not agree with me. It's always fun to engage with people who don't necessarily agree with me because, I get to hear a different viewpoint. They get to hear a different viewpoint. I get to express why I believe the way I believe, and I get to think about why, I get to really, when you're in a debate with someone, you really see how foolproof your argument is. And so that is, that's always interesting to do. So I would like to start taking calls at some point in the future. But again, at this point, it's just not something I can do. It's not something I'm capable of doing, because of my Skype issues, because of the problems that I have with the program. It just doesn't work for me for forwarding the calls, because you have to forward the number for the call-in number for UCY. They have to forward it over to my Skype, and that's where the problem arises. Is actually forwarding the calls over. So, you know, I don't know. That is that is the problem there with calls. So that's just for people who again may or may not have listened to the show before and who were curious, because I see a lot of times, I'm not seeing it this evening, but a lot of times I see people asking, oh, does this guy take calls, or is this live, or can we call in, or why can't we call in, or stuff like that. I see that a lot in the comment thread, which I do monitor the comment thread frequently throughout the show. If you don't know that, I like to see what people are saying. And, well, that's your answer. I can't do it. Yes, this is a live show, unless, stated otherwise, unless I'm sick or laid up or can't do the show, or for whatever reason, then I'll have a pre-recorded one played back or something, or I'll air maybe an old interview or something. But, I've done that. I've had to do that on a couple, 3 occasions maybe. But, yes, it is a live show. This is live, but I'm not able to take calls because of those technical issues. Skype hates me. It really does. And I've had so many problems with actually connecting on the show sometimes. I've had to go dead air. Some of that's my actual internet issues and my router issues, which I'm wondering if maybe that doesn't have something to do with the Skype as well, but with the problems that I'm having with forwarding calls. But anyway, all right, that is that. That's the Skype. That's the phones. That's that. There you have it. All right, I want to get into this next article here that I had in front of me that I printed out earlier for the show, and then I want to get into a little bit of my analysis of this and my analysis of something greater. I'm going to tie this into a couple of things here. Second Amendment rallies across the country over weekend attendance varied. Volunteer grassroots organization Gun Rights Across America mounted a campaign over the weekend to rally pro-Second Amendment gun owners and gun rights activists in every state capital in the country. Largely organized through social media, GRAA celebrated its second annual Guns Across America event from Salem to Des Moines and Boise and Montgomery. Pro-Second Amendment activists held rallies yesterday at noon. Last year, thousands gathered all across the country in honor of Gun Appreciation Day, but this year attendance varied. In many areas, this was chalked up to poorly organized state-level chapters of the new movement. The 2013 rallies were just weeks after the Newtown shooting and the resulting push for more new gun control laws, so passion and interest were on the pro-gun side. On some of the GRAA state chapter Facebook pages, weather and other social events were also cited for possible reasons of low attendance. The Denver rally, in a state which has seen tough new gun laws, which in turn led to a recall of state legislators and an exodus from the area of major gun accessory companies scheduled during the Broncos playoff game. Still, by the organization's own figures, a crowd of some 200 gun rights activists made an afternoon appearance. In an email to Guns.com, Shannon Montague, Vice President and National Events Coordinator of GRA, explains the group holds public gatherings year-long and that we consider every rally and event a success. This week's rally drew in about 10,000 people nationwide. A few states did have their rallies earlier in the week to advance key legislation. Unfortunately, tyranny doesn't wait for warmer weather or football season to end, Montague added. Now, again, that article that I just read to you was Second Amendment rallies across the country over weekend attendance varied. from guns.com. Now, this goes into a whole slew of different things, and I thought this was interesting because I actually I was watching some YouTube videos earlier from some of my favorite gun YouTube channels that I follow. I follow a lot of those, and one of my favorites was talking about this, and he was talking about how, and that's another thing I want to briefly say. I don't want to get too far off track here, but I am going to try to get some cool gun YouTubers on the show if I can. I have tried in the past to get one on, and I had some issues there, but I am going to try to get some gun YouTubers, some popular gun YouTubers on to talk about guns on the Gun Show, on the Monday Gun Show in the future. At one point last year, I will go ahead and say, I did try to get Hickok 45 to come on the show, and we talked about it. And for those of you who don't know, Hickok 45 is a huge one, the biggest probably gun reviewer and gun YouTube channel on the internet, and he does a lot of cool stuff over there. You know, gets millions and millions of people to watch his videos. I talked to him for a little bit sometime last year about coming on the show as a guest and, you know, chatting about guns and stuff like that. But he didn't want to come on because of the political issues. And, you know, he says that he doesn't like to go on shows where, you know, where politics might be a huge factor, because he likes to, you know, really stay out of the political realm to where he can open, because you know, he sees, and I see this too, and I completely respect him and agree with him on, you know, his decision to not come on the show and his reasoning, which is why I'm saying this. You know, if I was angry at him or whatever, I wouldn't actually be talking about this, because I don't like bashing people. But this also brings a good point. You know, he sees all sorts of, he sees gun supporters from all different political backgrounds and political ideologies and movements. So he doesn't like to go on shows that are too political in nature, and that's why he had to decline my offer to come on the show. But otherwise, you know, if it hadn't been a political show, he probably would have come on. But again, that's the issue there. And so I did try to get Hickok 45 on last year, but that's the deal with that. But I am going to be trying to get some more gun YouTubers on in the coming days, weeks, months on this gun show, because that's something that would be fun, I think, to do, and have some cool discussions here on the show. So anyway, back to the article here, back to what I was talking about. I saw a gun YouTuber, it wasn't Hickok 45, it was another one earlier, talking about how he had gone and attended some of these rallies, and he was talking about, from his perspective, some of how I'm not sure how I should word this, how people really need to pull together regardless of whether they agree with, and, you know, again, this is kind of what, like, Hickok was talking about when we talked about him coming on the show. This is a little different. He's talking about people in the gun community going out, how people in the gun community really need to go out to these gun protests, to these gun events, these gun rallies, these pro-gun, events, and really support them regardless of whether or not they support all of the details of it, because we all need to come together as gun owners regardless of our personal specific political beliefs, our personal specific political ideology, the specific things that we have to, that we may differ on. We all need to sort of come together as gun owners and unite on one thing, and that is guns. And we need to say that, we are supportive of the Second Amendment. And he was talking about how he's not really a religious person at all. He's not really, America, Jesus, God and guns kind of thing. And, which I, completely respect that. And, he's not that kind of person. And he was talking about one of the events that he went to this past week was sort of one of those events where they were getting up there and they were holding their hand on the Bible and making all of these, references and saying that the Bible needs to be the law of America, and, there were people waving rebel flags around, and there were people just, being genuine Christian country bumpkins, and, but he said he still went and supported it because of the actual guns, and what we need to be focusing on is getting a lot of these gun rallies, a lot of these gun protests directed in the right direction, not talking about, and I hate to say it because, I am a Christian myself. I'm not a mainstream Christian. I don't go to church. I don't believe in the whole religion. I think religion itself is a total cult. I think religion is a cult, but I do believe in God, and I have a very, very deep spiritual side, and I meditate and pray a lot. So, that goes into different stuff there. But again, we need to be getting away from all of the Bible clinging sort of rhetoric in the gun community. And we don't need to be associating that with the gun community simply because, not because I'm against that as a whole. I may not agree with all of the details of that, but I don't disagree with it. I don't, I just don't, that's not what we need to be basing these gun rallies on. Gun rallies need to be based on guns. Since it's as simple as that. We need to be based, if you're going to have a gun protest, base it around guns. That way, which this is something that I was talking about on my show last Friday, as not specifically just guns, but as politics and culture in general, how we all need to come together and focus on what we can agree on instead of dividing over the stuff that we disagree on. Because that's getting us nowhere. And we can really unite as humanity on the things we can agree on. So let's pull the gun community together and focus on one thing: guns. Because that's why we're the gun community. Because we're all for guns. We need to completely rule out all the crap that we disagree on. Completely get rid of the whole religious factor to it. Completely get rid of the whole, all of that crap. Get rid of the Republican side of it, get rid of the NRA supporting, or the Gun Owners of America supporting, or the this or that supporting, or, I'm a Republican gun community group, or I'm a Libertarian gun community group, or I'm a, whatever gun community group. We need to bring all gun owners, all supporters of the Second Amendment, all supporters of personal gun ownership together and say we can, again, agree on one thing, and that is guns. We all agree on guns, and we need to focus on that. We need to focus on guns. Nothing else. Just guns. And that's how we're going to get real progress made on specific issues, is getting people to come together who agree on one thing. Because it's really difficult to get tons and tons of people who agree on absolutely everything. But it's really easy to get a lot of people who agree on just one thing. So we can get millions and millions and millions of people together, and that again goes back to the whole issue of what I was talking about last week with the armed march on Washington, the whole thing that Adam Kokesh was planning last year, and how people were saying, oh, that's just going to cause a big slew of problems because only a few people are going to show up, and it's going to be bad, and they're just going to get arrested, and it's going to make the gun community look bad, and it's going to start a whole big mess of things, and what are they going to do? Fire on them? Well, here's the issue with that. If we can actually sit down and get the gun community together to focus on the issue of guns and the issue of guns only, then we can pull people together, and then events like that would actually work. We could actually get all of the gun owners to agree to come together and, open carry on, because I don't think anyone in the gun community would disagree that, guns should be legal in Washington, D.C., So get all the people in the gun community to come together and then have your armed march on Washington, D.C. And, if you have a million people marching on Washington, D.C. with loaded guns, what are they going to do? They're not going to arrest all 1 million of you. So that's the issue there. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about, pulling together, coming together, focusing on finding the common ground, focusing on the issues that we can agree on, instead of bickering over the ones that we can and trying to incorporate different things into into areas where we should be focused on just one thing. So again, that's pretty simple. We have to come together and, specifically with the gun community, we've just got to pull together and get past our own personal beliefs, get past our own personal, ideas that we may have. I know that your other beliefs are important too. Well, then you can focus on your other beliefs with other people who agree with you on those. Just focus on the guns with the people who agree with you on the guns, though. Don't try to incorporate your other stuff and try to convince other people in the gun community, because that's just going to get into infighting and arguing and, bickering back and forth, and then you're never going to get anything done. So, the pro-Christian gun owners can focus on their pro-Christian stuff with other like-minded pro-Christians, while they can focus on the actual gun stuff with other gun owners who, may be Christians or non, atheists or just not of a religion at all or whatever. And that is the issue. That is how we're going to make real progress. And that is the one thing that we haven't tried yet, in society, and that we haven't tried in these movements and in this movement as a whole, I guess, whatever you want to call this, the alternative media movement, the independent media movement, the anti-New World Order movement, the anti-establishment movement, whatever you want to call it. Some people have called it the bowel movement because of how ridiculously screwed up it is, and I tend to agree, but that is the one thing we haven't tried, is actually focusing on getting together with people on issues that we can actually agree on and working our activism that way. That's how we can come together and make progress, folks. We're running out of time pretty quickly here. This is, show has gone by pretty quickly, I guess. I want to start, get off of the guns again for a little bit here and start wrapping up, because there is a lot of stuff that I'm doing right now in the alternative media, in the independent media, and again, I need people's help with a lot of this stuff. I need your help, I need your support, I need your work, I need your, whatever. So again, first of all, just to promote the Facebook and Twitter and stuff, you can go follow me on Twitter at ALlen845 and at Liberty Battles. You can go check out my Facebook at facebook.com/Liberty Battles and the facebook.com/Alternative Journalism, that Facebook page. I admin that as well. Go check out the hashtag Justice for Kelly Thomas Facebook event and go join that. And so we can get together and really have a powerful Twitter storm on that. And, of course, you can find that, as I said towards the beginning of the show, you can find that over on the Liberty Battles Facebook page. And I want to briefly here talk again about some of these new things that I touched on at the beginning of the show that I'm doing. The new cultural narrative. For those of you who may have tuned in halfway through the show or missed the first little bit of the show, I have a blog over at newculturalnarrative.blogspot.com. Again, that's newculturalnarrative.blogspot.com. And at this point, I haven't done a lot of blogging over there. I just started it last November, and I haven't done a whole lot over there yet. But I'm changing it up. I'm doing some cool new stuff. Not only am I going to be putting a lot of new content over there, I'm also doing stuff a little differently with this blog than most people would think of a blog as being. What I'm first going to do is I'm going to try to get my hands on the actual domain for newculturalnarrative.com, and I'm going to transfer it all over there, and then I'm going to try to get a bunch of different writers. Now, you can be a gun writer, Of course, this is the gun show, so, maybe a lot of you are out there are interested in guns. Maybe that's what you want to focus on. I'm open to gun writers. I'm open to political writers. I'm open to reviewers of certain things. If you review music, if you review, anything. I want to get a whole collection of different, interesting, wonderful, awesome writing over here on the New Cultural Narrative, and I want to get a bunch of different writers and contributors. So if you have a blog of your own, or if you have a website of your own, if you write articles on your own, or if you're interested in starting to write articles, what I'm doing is I'm offering a thing where I want you to write for New Cultural Narrative. And what I'll do is I can't pay you. I don't have the funds. I don't have the ability to pay anyone yet to write for me. But what I'm going to do is, first of all, if you have a blog or a website or Facebook page or some sort of thing like that of your own, I'll promote that. I'll give you a byline, right under the title of your article or post or whatever you do. You'll have a little thing that has your name, and then it'll have your a link to your website or your blog or your YouTube channel or whatever you do. And I'll have that. Or if you don't have anything like that to promote, I'll just put the New Cultural Narrative next to it, and then, that's that. You're actually a staff writer for New Cultural Narrative, basically. And then as a replacement for actually paying people, I am going to promote affiliate links. That's what I'm going to do, is promote affiliate links. So if you have an affiliate if you want to get an affiliate through a water filtration company or a survival foods company or whatever, you can put your affiliate link in the article. So anyway, if you're interested in doing that, contact me at allen@845@gmail.com. Thanks for listening tonight, and God bless.